The afternoon sun cut through the tree canopy, casting long, shifting shadows across the park path. Liam walked alongside Emma, Daniel, and little Sophie, the sounds of distant laughter drifting on the breeze. Without warning, Liam stopped. He locked eyes on a dark shape resting against the gravel. He moved forward, then knelt, his shadow stretching over the object. It was a wallet, worn and heavy. Sophie leaned in, her small hand reaching toward it, but Liam lifted it first. He flipped the cover open. Inside, rows of identification cards and weathered family photos pressed against the plastic. He scanned the information, then looked up at the empty path, searching for a face that matched the images. The surrounding trees stood silent. The weight of the item in his palm felt significant. He looked at Emma, then back at the cards. This was not just lost property. It was a connection to someone else's life. He stood up, closing the wallet firmly in his grip, his focus narrowing on the park ahead. He was no longer just walking. He was looking for an owner. Liam walked toward the nearest park bench, his pace brisk and determined. He approached a woman reading a book, holding the wallet out to show it clearly. She looked up, glanced at the item, and shook her head before returning to her pages. Liam turned away, his jaw set. He moved to a man adjusting a bicycle chain near the fountain. He gestured to the wallet, asking a question, but the man only shrugged and turned back to his work. The empty path ahead offered no clues. Emma placed a hand on Liam's shoulder, her eyes scanning the crowd. Daniel stepped up beside them, watching as more visitors passed by without acknowledging the lost object. The search was yielding nothing. Liam looked at his parents, his expression tightening with concern. The sun began to dip slightly lower, casting a sharper light across the park. Daniel pointed toward the park entrance, where a small wooden structure stood, the community information desk. It was their last hope for finding the owner. They began to walk, their footsteps rhythmic on the pavement. Liam kept both hands locked firmly around the leather, his knuckles white. The uncertainty of the task hung in the air between them. They reached the information booth just as the park grew quiet. Liam stood near the corner of the wooden structure, his fingers tracing the texture of the leather wallet. He kept his gaze fixed on the main path, waiting for a sign. Suddenly, a figure rounded the bend at a run. An elderly man, his chest heaving, stumbled toward the booth. He did not look at the path ahead. His eyes were glued to the ground, darting left and right in a desperate, frantic search. He stopped abruptly near the booth, his hands gripping his knees as he fought for breath. He looked up, his face pale and strained, scanning the immediate area with a hollow, searching expression. He checked the grass, then the base of the booth, his movements jerky and uneven. Liam stepped forward, closing the distance between them. The man did not see him at first, still muttering to himself, his fingers clawing at his pockets. Liam held the wallet up, the sunlight glinting off the leather. He took a steadying breath, his heart hammering against his ribs. He knew this was the moment. He moved into the man's line of sight, ready to end the search. Liam stepped into the man's field of vision and held the wallet out. The man stopped mid-gasp, his eyes locking onto the brown leather. He froze, his breathing hitched, then slowed. He reached out, his fingers trembling as they brushed the surface of the wallet. He took it, his grip tightening until his knuckles showed white. He sank to his knees on the pavement. The man opened the leather cover, his eyes darting across the photos inside. He let out a long, ragged exhale. He looked up at Liam, his vision blurred by moisture, and reached forward to pull the boy into a firm embrace. Liam stood still, his arms wrapping around the man's shoulders. Emma stepped forward, pressing a hand to her face and wiping her eyes. Daniel placed a steadying hand on Liam's back, watching the interaction with a firm nod. Little Sophie, sensing the change in the air, clapped her hands together. The man pulled back, opened the wallet to a specific photograph, and held it out for the family to see. He pointed to his own chest, then to the image, his face breaking into a wide, toothy smile. He stood up, still clutching the wallet against his heart, nodding repeatedly at each of them. The family turned away from the path as the sun dipped low, casting long, golden shadows across the pavement. Liam walked between Emma and Daniel, his fingers linked with Sophie's. They moved together down the quiet, tree-lined street, the wind cooling as the evening set in. Behind them, the park entrance faded into the distance. Inside their home, the air felt still and heavy with the scent of a prepared meal. They gathered around the wooden table, the surface cluttered with plates and bowls. The overhead lamp flickered once, casting a soft glow over their faces. Liam sat down, picked up his fork, and began to speak, his hands moving to mimic the afternoon's events. He laughed, a clear sound that cut through the quiet room. Sophie leaned her weight against him, her eyes fixed on his face, mirroring his smile. Daniel poured water into the glasses, the liquid splashing gently against the glass. Emma watched them both, her movements steady as she served the food. The house felt contained, separated from the noise of the outside world. They ate in the low light. The day's work done, the room settled into a rhythm of shared, quiet, and purposeful movement.